Long, long ago, more than 1,000 years hence, people were not born as one complete vessel, but two. All living creatures were divided into a physical body and their spirit, that would be the soul. Living creatures could not see their souls, but everybody knew they existed. The soul made its presence manifest whenever a person felt sad or lonely to soothe and comfort in times of strife. When people were stressed or unhappy, they would place their burdens upon their soul. As the soul was a separate entity to the physical body, the soul could accept these negative emotions and the physical body would be cleansed. There was, however, a downside to this practice. If the soul accumulated too much negativity, it would become tarnished. Then when the person died, their soul would be left behind to wander the earth. Their soul could not transit to the next life because it was too beleaguered with all the regrets the physical body had left behind. These souls had to realize their lost dreams somehow, but how? Without a corporal presence in the world, it was not easy. Eventually, these lost souls would be swallowed up by life energy of the world. With no alternative other than wandering, they became one of the earth and turned into plants. That is how trees and flowers were created. They are the lost souls of those who died unable to reconcile their regrets and thus were unable to transcend. Many centuries followed, and all creatures nowadays are born with their souls inside their bodies. When people feel pain or regret, they have no way to purge themselves of these feelings. Because our souls are an intrinsic part of our bodies, we have to deal with our pain and regret while we live, lest they consume us from the inside. It is a lesson we all should learn. We cannot run from our problems forever. No matter how difficult life becomes, we have to do our best to tackle the obstacles we face. Then, and only then, can we be at peace with our inner selves and achieve true peace when we die. So, Madeline ducked her head perhaps a touch shyly and brushed a strand of blonde hair behind her ear. What did you think of the story? Did you like it? Let's go. It's an inspirational story. Oh my, do you really think so? Of course. What would I gain from telling a lie? I am glad you like it. I too am rather fond of it. It is not particularly cheerful story, but I think it carries an important message. We can't run away from our problems, right? Indeed, they are useful words of advice whether you believe in souls or not. But Daffodil does not like it? She does not. That was hardly surprising. What Daffodil didn't like would fill a lexicon. The story makes her feel uncomfortable, and I can't imagine why. Life has not been easy on her. But neither has it been easy on me. I am glad Sister Bernadette told me this tale is the single most important gift anybody has given me. Without it, I doubt I would have been able to keep living. It sounds like you must have led a hard life. I suppose. But Lady Madeline does not give us hardships if we cannot bear them. Maybe it was a test. What kind of test? I could tell you if you wish, but I fear the story is even less palpable than the Book of Marjolaine. The traveler started suddenly guilty. After all, they had not confided in Madeline about their true nature. Madeline had spoke to them so earnestly, but she still did not know a single thing about the traveler. Why then did she seem so willing to offer so much of herself to a relative stranger? It was because she was too nice. She trusted too easily, and then she got hurt. That was the general impression the traveler had. But surely it would be rude to turn her offer down. If you wish to tell me, I would not mind. I will listen to anything you have to say. When you say that, it makes me sound like a sinner at confessions. Oh, I was not trying to imply that. It's fine. I'm just teasing. If we cannot laugh in life, what else do we have? Laughter is important. If we could not laugh, life would be miserable indeed. Like yours? My life has not been comprised of most pleasant experiences, but I have survived. I have a lot to be thankful for. Let me see. I suppose I should start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. Excuse me? It's a reference to a musical play. It was very popular in Praline, but perhaps it hasn't been staged in Dequois. Ah, I see. If it is a play, I would not know anything about it. I have never left this church before. Not once? Not once. But don't you ever want to see what's out there? I have always been criminally uncurious. That is what Daffodil tells me. She says I should explore more, but we have occasional guests such as yourself, and they tell me tales of their own travels. That's all I need to be happy. It sounds like a simple kind of happiness. But it is a happiness nonetheless. I do not want to ask for too much. It would be selfish. You should let yourself be selfish from time to time, or you'll never get what you want. My mother never approved of me becoming a traveler, but I defied her wishes. You must lead a very exciting life. I fear my story cannot compete. You see, I never knew my mother or my father. Ah, in that case, I apologize. You do not need to apologize. You did not know. In any case, I might not be an orphan. My mother or father may still be alive somewhere in Dequois, but I will never meet them. I was abandoned on the doorstep of this church when I was a baby. The nuns found me and took me in. They raised me as their own. That must have been lonely. I was not lonely. I did not miss my parents because I had never met them. Don't you resent them? I could not. I would resent my parents if they abandoned me. Perhaps you would, but I could not. How can I dislike people I have never known? Moreover, I am sure they had their reasons for leaving me. Maybe they could not afford to care for a child, or perhaps they were worried they would be unable to make me happy. Maybe my mother was raped and she did not want to keep a child born from such a union. Maybe my mother died in childbirth and raising me alone would have driven my father wild with grief. Whatever the reason, they must have been good people. If they had wanted me to die, they could have left me in a ditch. The fact that they left me outside a church shows that they at least wanted me to live. They loved me enough to give me life and a chance of sustaining it. I only have thanks to give them. I don't know if abandoning a baby is an act deserving of thanks. Maybe not to you, but I will never stop being thankful to my parents, whoever they are. Without them, I would not exist. The traveler shifted uncomfortably. Did Madeline believe everything she said? It was Madeline's narrative, and she could choose to present it however she wished to, but it was as though she refused point blank to accept any negative interpretations of her parents' actions. The travel had always argued with their family. They had prompted their decision to leave home as soon as possible. Did that mean they were childish? If Madeline had been in their situation, the traveler was sure Madeline would have seen the silver lining. She would not have run away because she was not that kind of person. She was much too stubborn. Her determination to see the world positively was impressive, but at the same time, slightly unsettling. The rain continued to drum against the windows, a gentle pitter-patter like a baby bird's heartbeat. The rain silenced the traveler. It was time for them to listen to Madeline's story. Madeline's kind of creepy for a nun. Madeline's story. I never knew my mother or father. I was left on the steps of this church when I was but an infant. However, I was never lonely. The nuns who lived in this church were very kind. They cared for me like I was their daughter, though in fact I was a nobody child of mysterious origins. They fed and clothed me and gave me a place to sleep. They taught me rudimentary mathematics and how to read and write. They showed me how to tend the vegetable gardens outside, and how to cook and clean. But most importantly of all, they befriended me. They gave me companionship. I never felt like I had a reason to feel sad, even if I did not know my parents, because I had already managed to find a wonderful family. They taught me about Lady Madeline and how she must have saved me for some greater purpose. I thought it was horribly self-centered to believe a divine entity had any interest in an unremarkable girl like me. But the sisters persevered. They told me Lady Madeline cared for all of her creations equally. Of all the nuns of the church, however, I was the closest to Bernadette. Bernadette was like a big sister to me. She was 12 years my senior, and I clung to her skirts like a duckling following their mother since I was old enough to walk. Bernadette was the one who told me the story about our souls and how they come to reside inside our bodies. I was 7 at the time, and there was an awful thunderstorm. The sky was thick with rain, much, much harder than it is tonight, and the wind whistled so loudly I feared the church would be blown away. I used to be afraid of the dark when I was a child, and I was horribly scared. I could not sleep soundly in my own bed, so I crept into Bernadette's. I think I woke her, but she did not scold me. Instead, she held me close, patted me on the head, and told me the story about souls. She said that we must face our own problems no matter how scared we are. In retrospect, I do wonder, maybe she told me the story because she was tired and wanted me to go back to my own bed. I would not blame her if this was the truth, because it was very late at night and she was awfully patient to put up with me so. In any event, no matter what her reasoning was, the story left quite an impression on me. Bernadette gave me a good deal throughout the years, but I think that tale is the most important gift anybody has ever bequeathed me. I am not exaggerating when I say it helped me through some truly tough trials. The goddess is never unfair, but oh, it can be rather tough. At times I thought I might break, and then I recalled Bernadette's words, and I gripped my teeth and I tried to get on with it. I had to. My life continued like it was, unbroken for 14 or 15 years. I grew into a young woman, and I continued to live with the nuns. I never interacted with anybody from the outside world, save the travelers who came to the church for refuge and the beggars asking for alms. Though the church is 10 miles from Castilla, we had no shortage of visitors. It had a good reputation, and the Mother Superior was renowned as a kindly woman who gave generously. If Daffodil were here, however, she would say it was Mother Superior's kindness that was our undoing. Madeline drew a breath, perhaps attempting to steel herself for the latter half of her tale. She winced. Oh goodness, this happened 8 years ago, but it still haunts me. Silly. I am being foolish. If only Daffodil were here to chastise me. Unsure of what to do, the traveler reached a hand towards Madeline, but they did not feel confident enough to rest it upon her shoulder. It would have been so easy to comfort Madeline if they were Daffodil. But they were not. All the traveler could do was let their arm drop and say softly, "I don't think you're foolish. I think you're strong and noble." Oh my. You know, flattery will get you nowhere. Oops, it says I wasn't trying to flatter you. I wonder. Daffodil is convinced every traveler we accept into the church has wicked designs on my innocence. She says they would all propose to me if given half a chance. I don't know about proposing. I'm not the marrying kind. Me neither. I am already buried. Whoa! She's a nun. She's married to her religion. You are? To Lady Madeline, of course. See, I knew it. Oh, right, of course. In any event, I love Daffodil too much to leave her on her own. She gets awfully lonely when I'm not around. So she has a cute side. She is very cute. She just doesn't like showing it because she's pig-headed. If she smiled a bit more, I'm sure you would have begged her to keep you company tonight rather than me. Well, I don't know about that. She seems rather violent. Like a little rabid dog. But she always calms down when I pet her. Alrighty. Madeline giggled. She looked a lot happier than she had done before. She really must have loved Daffodil if talking about her cheered her so completely and instantly. But the merriment soon faded from Madeline's face as she reconsidered, staring out at one of the stained glass windows.